Hey guys, Porowl here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make a demon hunter for speedrunning old content, like dungeons and raids. For those of you who don't know, old content dungeons and raids are filled with valuable and unique transmog that are desired by many, and you can make a lot of gold selling this transmog, or add a lot of neat stuff to your collection. Demon hunters aren't the only class that can speedrun dungeons, but it's the class I'll be covering today, and I'll be going over other classes in the future. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna need is a level 101 Demon Hunter. The Demon Hunter needs to be level 101 because of scaling. For those of you who don't know, Demon Hunters gain movement speed from mastery, so the more mastery that you have, the faster you are. So using a level 101 Demon Hunter, and some BOEs from the auction house, you can make a pretty fast character. Here's a list of all the gear that I use. As you can see, I wear some cloth pieces too. This is because they have more mastery than their leather counterparts. You can find a link to my armory in the description below. Now there is some upgrades that I can make, and I'll get those upgrades slowly. Now a lot of these items are from last expansion, so the price might be high or low depending on the demand and the availability of these items. Now for a second I want to focus on the legendary boots. The legendary boots are really useful. They have 3 slots for gems, which I filled with mastery gems, and it has a super useful buff. Each time you kill an enemy, you gain 5% movement speed for 1 minute, stacking up to 5 times. This means while in dungeons, you get an extra 25% movement speed buff that never goes away as long as you're killing stuff, which is really good. If you use this item outdoors and you're killing stuff, it'll turn you into a wisp when you're out of combat. That works as a ground mount or flying mount depending on where you are. I got my boots for around 80,000 gold, and since this is a last expansion item, your price might be higher or lower depending on the demand, but these boots are super useful, and I would highly recommend picking up a pair if you can. Now let me move on to enchants. Here's a list of all the enchants that I use. These enchants are pretty cheap, so definitely pick them up for some extra speed. Remember, you want as much mastery as possible for as much movement speed that you can get. Okay, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is professions. Personally, I found jewel crafting and engineering to be the best for speedrunning. First, let me talk about engineering. Engineering offers a lot of unique and useful items for running dungeons, so I would highly recommend picking it up. First, there's Nitro Boost, which is an enchant that goes on your belt and gives you 290% movement speed for a few seconds. This is really useful when there's not a lot of mobs to kill, but you got a long distance to run. This item can malfunction sometimes, and doesn't always work, but it's on a 2-minute cooldown, and can still be really useful. Also, as an engineer, you have a portable mailbox, which is on a 1-hour cooldown, and really comes in handy when you need to mail over loot and clear your bags. As an engineer, you also have Jeeves, which is a portable repair bot that allows you to repair mid-dungeon, or vendor any junk that you don't want. For those who don't have the Jeeves schematic, you can farm it from the Library Guardians and Storm Peaks. When I got it, it didn't take too long, and from what I've read, it still isn't too hard to obtain. So if you're worried about getting this schematic, it's actually pretty easy. The next item I'd like to talk about is super useful. The next item is called Looterang. Looterang will AoE loot all the corpses in an area, and you don't even need to be near the corpse to use it. This comes in handy when you're killing a bunch of mobs in an area, and you notice that you missed some mobs far away, so you just use the Looterang to loot for you. Here's an example of the Looterang in action. As you can see, the Looterang can be quite useful, so I highly recommend picking one up. And the last item I'd like to talk about is called Locksmith Powder Keg. Locksmith Powder Keg opens up chests that you can't open in dungeons, which can sometimes have valuable loot inside. So if you're running a dungeon and want to open the chest, but you don't have a rogue, you can just use Locksmith Powder Keg to open up the chest. Engineering is one of the most useful professions in speedrunning, and I highly recommend picking it up if you're interested. Now the second profession that I use is jewel crafting. The only reason that I use jewel crafting is for the jeweled lockpick, which can open up chests and dungeons that I'm running. I choose this over the locksmith powder keg from engineering because it only requires 1 piece of sangrite, which I stocked up on before BFA got released. In my opinion, these professions are really good for running dungeons, and I have found them to be super useful, but if you guys have any other tips on any other professions, please leave a comment in the comment section below. I'm always happy to hear about new and fun ways to do things. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is items. There's really only 3 items that I bring to dungeons. Jeweled lockpick from jewel crafting, to open up chest, Bear Tartar, for an additional 15% movement speed on killing enemies, and this next item is optional, but Skystep Potion. Skystep Potion will give you 150% movement speed for 8 seconds, which comes in handy when there's a long way to run and no enemies to kill for additional movement speed. These are all the items that I use for speedrunning, but if you guys know of any others, please make a comment in the comment section below. Demon Hunters offer so much when it comes to running dungeons. They can dash around, they can float using the Demon Hunter wings, and there's just so much utility in their kit for moving around that they're the perfect candidates for speedrunning dungeons. Now a lot of people ask me what the best dungeon is to farm. If you're trying to build a healthy transmog supply, I'd recommend running every classic dungeon 10 times each. This way you'll get a wide variety of items, and won't have too many duplicates when listing on the auction house. Transmog can be a slow-moving market, but can be really profitable, and you can see consistent sales once you have a big enough supply. Demon Hunters are really good at running dungeons, but they aren't the only class that can run them quickly. Next time I'll be covering Feral Druids, so make sure to watch for that video coming soon. If you guys would like to see me speedrun live, you can catch me at twitch.tv/Porowl, and if you have any questions, you can find my Discord in the description below. Thank you for watching, and good luck farming everyone.